Howdy. I'm here in Sweetwater, Texas. We just stayed the night here. We drove up from Waco to here yesterday. Took us about 3.5, 4 hours, something like that. And today we're leaving Sweetwater. We just spent one night here. Rained most of the night last night. Which, if you know this part of Texas very well, that's kind of unusual. But they got a lot of rain last night. They needed. Today we're gonna head to Clovis, New Mexico. We're gonna go straight up through Lubbock, Highway 84, followed along the way, and tomorrow we'll be visiting the Clovis site, Clovis archaeological site, where they first discovered the Clovis culture and the tools associated with the Clovis culture. So looking forward to that, and we'll be stopping and seeing anything interesting along the way. So here we go. Talk to you.
Howdy. So our original plan was to go up to Clovis. We were going to spend one night there, or actually 2 nights, so we'd have a full day to go check out some stuff around Clovis that I really wanted to see. My wife brought it up, said, "Hey, we're going through Lubbock, right?" I said, "Yeah, we're going through Lubbock." She said, "Well, there's a Buddy Holly museum there I'd like to see." And I said, "Well, I'd like to see that too. Let's just stop and take a look at it." So we went to the Buddy Holly Museum in Lubbock. It's a great place. They don't allow any photography inside the part of the museum where they keep all the memorabilia from Buddy, so I can't show you that. You can see some of it on the website of the Buddy Holly Museum. But while I was walking through there, they have some great stuff in there. They got his Stratocasters in there. They got a bunch of some old recording equipment, and they started talking about this Norman Petty Studios in Clovis, which is where we were headed, and how Buddy went to Norman Petty Studios because he wanted to record his songs his way. He didn't want to have a producer and record company. He tried to do that with Decca Records in Nashville, and it didn't work out. So he thought his songs would go over better if he just had complete control over how they were going to be done. He went and had a meeting with this Norman Petty in Clovis. There they went. And in May of 1957, they started recording songs over in Clovis, New Mexico at Norman Petty Studios. Now, Norman Petty Studios was at the time one of the state-of-the-art recording studios available in the United States. A lot of big names recorded there, and he had put a lot of money and resources. He was a musician himself. He had made some money in the music business, and he reinvested a lot of it in this studio. In today's dollars, he would have put over $1 million into this recording studio. I think back then it was over $100,000 in like 1955, 56, that era. So I started reading about some of the recordings they made at this studio, and one really caught my attention. I think if you've watched my previous videos where I record in my other room, I'm really a big Grateful Dead fan and have been for decades. So when I found out that Not Fade Away, the original version of Not Fade Away, was recorded in Clovis, New Mexico at this studio, well, I needed to stop by and at least take a look at the outside of the studio. I couldn't get inside because you got to have a reservation in advance, and I hadn't done that. So we left the Buddy Holly Museum. I drove about 90 minutes to Clovis, and by that time I'd looked up the address of this studio and pulled up there. There was another car parked there that was sort of looking at the outside of the building, and so I took a few pictures on the outside of the building, and then I did some research about it later. On the left-hand side, there's the recording studio, and they say that inside there, if you can set up for a tour, the family still owns it, and it's intact. The old vintage tape equipment and microphones are all still there. It's intact. On the right-hand side, as you're facing the building, there's a building that they used for their publishing company, and on the upstairs of that, they built an echo chamber, which at the time they would try to build a room that had really nice sounding reverb in it, because that was the easiest way to get it back then. They didn't have all these, digital reverbs they could use and stuff like that. So they used the reverb room a lot for drum parts and that kind of thing. So on a May morning, 1957, Buddy Holly got some songs he's working on, and he picks up his Stratocaster. Now I don't have I've got one. I'm going to do it on acoustic guitar because it's easier. So, and he starts giving it. You get it anyway. So while he's doing this, his drummer, Jerry Allison, is pounding out the rhythm on a cardboard box, and they're recording the cardboard box. They've got a microphone on the strings of his guitar as well as on the amp he's using, probably, I would imagine, a Fender Deluxe, and they got a stand-up bass going, and so they quickly record this Not Fade Away. It gets put as a B-side on one of the 45s they released, but it also comes out on the Chirping Crickets, the album they recorded there at the studio in Clovis, New Mexico, along with Peggy Sue, and there were 3 or 4 songs off that album that just became hits. Not Fade Away got picked up by other bands. The Rolling Stones recorded a version of it that was their first top 10 hit in England. The Grateful Dead put it on their 1971 live album. Paul McCartney from the Beatles said the first 40 songs that he and John Lennon wrote, they were trying to sound like Buddy Holly. That's how big of an influence he had there. In fact, Paul McCartney put money out of his own pocket and wound up buying Buddy Holly's music catalog, so he owns all the publishing to those songs now. So just standing in the parking lot there when you're as big a music fan as I was, just looking at this building, that even though I wasn't inside it, it was just kind of surreal. The history that took place with in that spot, so many years ago, when my parents were teenagers back then, I guess, and just being there was just it gave me a good feeling inside. I want to go. The next time I'm in that area, I'm going to try to get a hold of the people that are running that museum now and see if I can't get in there to look around and look at the inside. Boy, I'd really love that. Don't know. So, little music history. If you are ever in Lubbock, Texas, or Clovis, New Mexico, I hope you get a chance to check out those places I was talking about. If you're as big of a music nut as I am, or even close, it's just very impressive. And it's nice to be close to where that history was made. It's just something special about it. Anyways, until next time, take it easy, and we'll catch you down the road.